No one noticed the egg. Dock 17 was a graveyard of forgotten things, twisted metal, broken cargo crates, and scrap too worthless to catalogue. Ships roared overhead, traders shouted over prices, and the constant hum of machinery drowned out anything quiet enough to be ignored, which is why the sound should have gone unnoticed. Tap, tap, tap. Ethan Cole paused mid-step, a rusted panel slung over his shoulder. He frowned and glanced around. No one else reacted. No one else even seemed to hear it. "Great," he muttered. "Now I'm hearing things." He turned to leave. Tap, tap. Ethan froze. "Okay, that's definitely real." With a sigh that carried years of bad decisions, he dropped the panel and climbed over a heap of scrap toward the sound. Bits of metal shifted under his boots as he dug through the pile, tossing aside wires and cracked plating. Then he saw it. The egg sat half-buried beneath a bent support beam, smooth and dark like polished stone. Thin veins of gold light pulsed faintly across its surface, glowing in steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. Ethan stared at it. Yeah, that's not normal scrap. He crouched slowly, eyeing it like it might explode. "Could be valuable," he murmured. "Or illegal. Probably both." Another tap came from inside. Ethan leaned back slightly. Right. Definitely alive. He hesitated. Smart people would walk away. Ethan had never claimed to be smart. Fine. Just a quick look. He reached out and brushed his fingers against the shell. The reaction was immediate. A crack split across the egg with a sharp snap, golden light spilling through the fracture. Ethan jerked back, stumbling as the crack spread rapidly across the surface like lightning. "Oh, that's bad. That's really bad." The egg burst open. Light flared, then faded just as quickly. Something small tumbled out onto the metal floor with a soft thud. Ethan blinked. That's it. The creature that lay there was no bigger than a house cat. Crimson scales shimmered faintly under the dim lights, and tiny wings twitched awkwardly on its back. A thin tail curled around itself as it let out a soft, confused chirp. Then it opened its eyes. Bright gold. Locked directly onto him. Ethan didn't move. "Nope," he said immediately. "Not my problem." He turned, took one step, and felt something grab his boot. He looked down. The tiny creature had waddled forward and latched onto him, its claws surprisingly firm for something so small. It chirped again, louder this time, and nuzzled against his leg like it had known him forever. "Oh no," Ethan whispered. "No, no, no. That is not happening." The creature chirped happily. Its eyes glowed brighter. And then a voice echoed in his mind. "Bond accepted." Ethan froze. "What?" The creature tilted its head. "Primary caretaker identified." Ethan's heart skipped. "Okay, nope. I didn't agree to anything." Genetic imprint complete. The tiny dragon puffed up proudly. "Hello, human." Ethan stared at it, dread creeping into his chest. "You just talked in my head." "Correct." He took a slow step back. The dragon followed. "You are mine." Ethan ran a hand down his face. "I have made a terrible mistake." The dragon chirped again, curling around his boot like it belonged there. And far beyond the stars, something ancient stirred, awake for the first time in centuries. Something that had been waiting. For this exact moment. Ethan didn't sleep. Not even for a second. He sat on the edge of his narrow bunk, elbows on his knees, staring at the small crimson creature currently curled up in a nest of stolen cloth on his table. It was asleep. Peaceful, adorable, and absolutely, undeniably dangerous. "This is a bad idea," Ethan muttered. One golden eye snapped open. "You are loud." Ethan flinched. "You're in my head again." The dragon stretched lazily, wings flicking. "I am always in your head." "Yeah, that's not comforting." It yawned, actually yawned, revealing tiny, sharp teeth. "You are bonded. This is permanent." Ethan leaned back and covered his face. "Permanent. Great. Fantastic. I've legally adopted a telepathic lizard I can't return." The dragon sat upright, clearly offended. "I am not a lizard." "Right. Sorry. Telepathic problem." It puffed up, but before it could respond, a sharp beep echoed from Ethan's door console. Both of them froze. Another beep. Then a voice from outside. "Dock Authority Enforcement. Open immediately." Ethan slowly lowered his hands. "Tell me they're not here for you." The dragon tilted its head. "They are here for me. Of course they are." The door burst open. 3 armored enforcers stormed in, weapons raised, visors glowing faint blue. Their movements were precise, trained, efficient. "Dangerous. Step away from the Drakari hatchling," one commanded. "That creature is classified property under interstellar containment law." Ethan stood up, hands raised. "Okay, first of all, it hatched in a pile of junk. That doesn't exactly scream classified property." "Last warning," the enforcer said, aiming directly at him. "Surrender it." The dragon let out a low hiss. Its golden eyes burned brighter. "They intend to separate us." Ethan swallowed. "Yeah, I got that part." His mind raced. No weapons. No escape route. No plan. Just him. And a baby dragon that apparently talked too much. "You are threatened," the dragon said. "No kidding. Then invoke your right." Ethan blinked. "My what?" The air shifted. Subtle at first, but wrong. Like reality itself was holding its breath. The dragon rose to its feet. For a moment, it didn't feel small anymore. "By ancient law," it said, voice echoing deeper now, layered with something far older than its tiny body. "The bonded is granted 3 wishes." Ethan stared. "You're joking." The enforcers stepped forward. "Final warning." The dragon ignored them. "State your will." Ethan's pulse pounded in his ears. "This is insane. Hurry." Weapons powered up with a rising hum. Ethan's thoughts collided. Fear, confusion, disbelief. 3 wishes? That wasn't real. None of this was real. Except the guns. Okay, he stammered. The enforcers moved in. Ethan shut his eyes and shouted the first thing that came to mind. "Get us out of here." Silence. Then, the dragon's eyes ignited like twin suns. First wish acknowledged. Everything broke. The walls warped, stretching into impossible angles. Light twisted into spirals, colors bending into something Ethan couldn't even process. Gravity vanished. Sound collapsed into a single, deafening pulse. Ethan felt like he was falling and being pulled apart and rebuilt, all at once. This was a bad idea. And then it stopped. Ethan slammed onto solid ground, coughing hard as air rushed back into his lungs. "Okay," he wheezed. "Never doing that again." He rolled onto his back, staring up, and froze. The ceiling above him wasn't a ceiling. It was stars. Endless. Bright. Terrifyingly close. Ethan sat up slowly. They weren't in his room anymore. They weren't even on the station. They stood on a wide metallic platform suspended in open space, overlooking a massive blue planet that stretched across half the sky. "Where are we?" he whispered. The dragon hopped lightly onto his shoulder. Its voice was calm. "Safe." Ethan stared at the planet, then at the emptiness around them. "You and I have very different definitions of that word." Before the dragon could respond, a low hum filled the void. Ethan turned and felt his stomach drop. Ships. Dozens of them. Sleek, dark, and heavily armed, dropping out of warp one by one, surrounding the platform in a tightening circle. Every weapon locked onto him. "You've got to be kidding me." The silence didn't last long. It never did. Ethan slowly stood, every instinct screaming at him to run, except there was nowhere to go. The platform beneath his feet stretched wide and smooth, made of some dark alloy that reflected the distant stars like glass. Beyond its edges, there was only open space. And now, warships. They arrived in waves, slipping out of warp with cold precision. Sleek black hulls, glowing weapon arrays, engines humming with restrained power. Each one took position in a perfect circle around the platform. A trap. "Yeah," Ethan muttered, shoulders slumping. "This is exactly how I die." The dragon on his shoulder remained perfectly still. "Do not panic. I'm surrounded by an armada." Ethan snapped. "This is peak panic material." A low tone echoed across the platform. Then a voice followed, deep, mechanical, and utterly devoid of emotion. "Unidentified human. You are in possession of a Drakari hatchling. Surrender immediately, and you may be spared." Ethan blinked. "May be spared? Wow. Very comforting." The dragon's tail flicked slightly. "They will not spare you." "Yeah, I figured that out from the tone." The voice continued. "The Drakari are not animals. They are strategic assets. Relinquish control or face termination." Ethan let out a dry laugh. "Control? Buddy, I don't even control my own life." The dragon shifted. For the first time, its presence felt heavier, older. "Correct," it said quietly. "You do not control me." Ethan glanced at it. "That's not reassuring." The ships adjusted position. Weapon arrays glowed brighter. "Charging." Ethan's heart started racing again. "Okay, new plan. We run." "There is nowhere to run." "Right." A pause. Then Ethan asked the question that had been clawing at his brain since this started. "Why do they want you so badly?" The dragon didn't answer immediately, its golden eyes fixed on the fleet. "Because I am not simply a hatchling." Ethan frowned. "Yeah, I got that vibe. I am a Drakari." Still not helpful. The dragon's voice deepened, layered, echoing faintly, as if something vast spoke behind it. "My kind binds to chosen beings. We grant them the law of three." Ethan's stomach dropped slightly. "The wishes." "Yes. So they want you because of the wishes?" The dragon turned its head toward him. Its eyes glowed brighter. "They want control over reality itself." Ethan went very still. That was worse. Much worse. The fleet shifted again, tightening formation. A second voice cut in, sharper, more urgent. "Energy spike detected from the target. Prepare suppression strike." Ethan's eyes widened. "Suppression? What does that mean?" The dragon's answer was simple. They intend to destroy you before you can use another wish. Fantastic! The first ship fired. A beam of brilliant white energy lanced across the void, striking the platform just meters away. The impact exploded in a burst of light and heat, the shock wave throwing Ethan off his feet. He hit the ground hard, pain flaring through his side. Okay, this is bad. This is really bad. More weapons powered up. Dozens of them, all aimed directly at him. The dragon leapt down from his shoulder, landing between him and the fleet. Its small form looked insignificant, but the air changed. Again, pressure built, thick, heavy, like gravity had suddenly increased. The dragon's wings spread slowly, not physically larger, but somehow more. "You are threatened," it said. Ethan pushed himself up, wincing. "Yeah, you keep saying that like it's helpful." Another volley charged. The ships didn't hesitate this time. They were going to finish it. Now. The dragon didn't move, didn't flinch. "Use your wish." Ethan froze. "What?" "You have one remaining command before they fire." His mind spun. One wish left. No, wait. No, I already used one. Correct. Two remain. That was somehow worse. The weapons flared brighter. Seconds. He had seconds. Ethan clenched his fists, panic rising fast. "I don't even know what to ask for. Survival is sufficient." The fleet fired. Everything lit up. Ethan's vision filled with blinding light as energy beams screamed toward him from every direction. Time seemed to slow. His heart pounded once, hard. "Okay," he whispered. He stood, and for the first time, he didn't feel small. "I wish." The light closed in. "I wish for the power to protect myself." The moment the words left his mouth, reality answered. The dragon's eyes exploded with light. Not just glowing, burning, like twin stars igniting in the void. The space around them walked, bending inward as if something immense had just awakened. Second wish acknowledged. The voice wasn't small anymore. It wasn't even just the dragon. It was everywhere. The incoming barrage of energy beams should have obliterated Ethan instantly. Instead, they stopped, frozen in midair. Dozens of brilliant beams hung suspended just meters from him, crackling with contained destruction. The light flickered violently, struggling against something unseen. Against him. Ethan hovered inches above the platform without realizing it. What is happening?" His voice sounded distant to his own ears. Different. Stronger. He looked down at his hands. They were glowing. Not faintly. Not subtly. His skin shimmered with a deep golden light, lines of energy running beneath it like living veins. Power surged through him, raw, overwhelming, impossible. And yet, it felt natural, like it had always been there. I'm doing this." The dragon stood beside him, its small form now outlined in blazing light. "You are the focus." Ethan swallowed. The beams trembled. Then, slowly, they reversed. With a single thought, Ethan pushed outward. The frozen energy surged back the way it came. Ships exploded. Not one, not two, dozens. Fire blossomed across the void as the redirected barrage tore through the fleet's front line. Hulls shattered, shields collapsed, and fragments of warships scattered into the darkness. The remaining ships pulled back instantly. Formation broken. Confidence shattered. Silence fell. Ethan stared, breathing hard. "I just did that." The dragon's voice was calm, almost approving. "Yes. I just destroyed an entire squadron." "Yes." Ethan blinked rapidly. "That feels like something I should be more concerned about." The fleet didn't fire again. They hesitated. For the first time since they arrived. They were afraid. A new voice cut through the calms, sharper than before. "Target exhibits reality-level manipulation. All units hold position." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Reality-level manipulation? That sounds important." "It is." The dragon stepped forward, wings slightly spread. But Ethan barely noticed. Because something else was happening. He could feel everything. The ships. Their power systems. Their weapons charging, cooling, adjusting. Even the faint pull of the planet below them. It was all there, clear, precise, like the universe had suddenly become understandable. "This is insane," he whispered. He clenched his fist. Energy rippled outward. The nearest ship flickered, its shields collapsing instantly under the pressure. Ethan immediately released his grip. "Okay, I need to not do that casually." The dragon looked up at him. Its eyes were steady. "You are adapting quickly." "That's because I'm trying not to die." A pause. Then, quieter. "What exactly did I just wish for?" The dragon tilted its head slightly. "You asked for the power to protect yourself." "Yeah." The interpretation was generous. Ethan let out a short, nervous laugh. "I'm starting to think I should have been more specific." The fleet began to reposition, slowly, cautiously. They kept their distance now. No longer hunting. Watching. Waiting. A standoff. Ethan hovered there, glowing faintly, heart still racing. "So what now?" The dragon's voice softened slightly. "Now they understand." "Understand what?" The dragon turned its gaze toward the fleet. "That you are no longer prey." Ethan followed its gaze. Dozens of warships. All of them armed. All of them powerful. And none of them moving. He exhaled slowly. "Yeah." For the first time since this started. He wasn't afraid. But something else crept in instead. A realization. They're not leaving. No. Why not? The dragon's answer was quiet. "Because you still have one wish remaining." Ethan's stomach tightened. Right. One left. Around them, the fleet held position. Not attacking. Not retreating. Waiting. For his next move. And somewhere, far beyond those ships, something much bigger had just taken notice. The battlefield held its breath. Ethan hovered above the platform, golden light flickering faintly around him as the last echoes of his power settled. Below, the massive planet turned slowly in silence. Around him, the fleet remained perfectly still. Watching. Waiting. No one dared fire. Not anymore. Ethan exhaled slowly, the weight of everything pressing down on him all at once. "So this is it," he murmured. The dragon stood beside him again, small, calm, but no less overwhelming in presence. "Yes." Ethan rubbed his face. "No pressure, right? Just one wish that apparently decides the fate of everything. Your final wish carries the greatest consequence." "Great. Love that." A low hum rolled through space. Ethan looked up. Something new had arrived. It wasn't like the other ships. It didn't move like them. It didn't even feel like them. It simply appeared. vast, ancient. Its structure was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Layers of dark metallic arcs surrounding a glowing core that pulsed slowly, like the heartbeat of a dying star. And when it spoke, the entire platform vibrated. Human. Ethan stiffened. That's new. You stand at the convergence of power long sought by empires, feared by civilizations, and erased from history. Ethan glanced at the dragon. You could have mentioned that earlier. You did not ask. Fantastic. The voice continued. The Drakari do not grant wishes freely. They choose. They test. And they bind. Ethan frowned. Bind. The dragon looked at him, really looked at him this time, not like a curious hatchling, but like something far older. You were not chosen by chance. Ethan's chest tightened slightly. What does that mean? You did not run. He blinked. What? When you found me, you were afraid, confused, aware that something was wrong. The dragon stepped closer. And you stayed. Ethan frowned, thinking back. The tapping. The glow. The moment he could have walked away. I guess I did. The dragon's voice softened. That is why you were chosen. Silence stretched. Then the ancient ship spoke again. Make your final wish, human, and understand, there is no undoing it. Ethan looked out at the fleet, at the countless weapons, at the fear, at the tension hanging over everything. Then he looked down at his hands, still faintly glowing with power. Power he never asked for. A war he didn't start. A galaxy that suddenly revolved around him. He let out a slow breath. Yeah, I'm done with all of this. The dragon watched him carefully. Ethan closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them. I wish. Every ship seemed to lean in. I wish for this to end. Silence. No more hunting. No more wars over this power. No one controlling it. No one fighting for it. The glow around him steadied. I wish for balance. The dragon's eyes softened, something almost like pride flickering within them. Final wish accepted. The universe answered. Light surged outward, not violently, not destructively, but everywhere. It moved through ships, through space, through the distant stars themselves. Weapons powered down. Engines went silent. The tension vanished. Across the fleet, systems shut off as if the will to fight had simply disappeared. Ethan felt the power leave him. Not ripped away. Released. He dropped gently back onto the platform, the glow fading from his skin. Okay, he breathed. That's new. The massive ancient ship pulsed once more. Then it vanished. One by one, the fleet followed. No retreat. No attack. Just gone. Silence returned. Ethan stood there, staring at the empty stars. Did I just fix everything? The dragon curled lightly around his shoulder. You changed everything. Ethan let out a quiet laugh. Yeah. No pressure. The dragon rested its head against him. Smaller now. Peaceful. You chose well, human. Ethan looked out at the calm galaxy. For the first time since all of this started, it wasn't watching him anymore. Next time, he muttered, I'm ignoring the weird glowing egg. The dragon chirped softly. You will not get another. Ethan smirked slightly. Good.